Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. Right. Um, let's go through some introduction of FIN420 financial management. So this will be the introduction to finance, basically. And I believe most of you Bachelor of Finance kan. So this will be like an introduction, very fundamental before you go through the next steps in other courses in the future. Okay, so before we go into detail, the content with regards to FIN420 financial management, let me introduce myself first. Okay, my name is Muhammad Faizal. Okay, not to be confused by your coordinator. So your coordinator, Cik Faizal Kamarudin. So anything related with administrative issues, registration of courses, timetable, whatever yang berkaitan dengan administrative issues, boleh contact dengan Cik Faizal Kamarudin lah. But for myself, my name is Muhammad Faizal Basri. I'm just in charge of your class for FIN420 sahaja. Right, a bit about my background. I got my PhD in Islamic Finance from Durham University. And I got my MBA, my degree, and even my diploma from UiTM. Okay, mostly from UiTM Shah Alam last time. And for my professional qualifications, I have registered financial planner and also Shariah registered financial planner, awarded by Malaysian Financial Planning Council, MFPC. And I'm also a certified MFPC trainer, okay, whereby I conduct training and also courses for MFPC, okay, for their clients. And I used to work with UiTM before, but currently I'm attached with UPSI. And way back during my early career, I worked with MBank, okay, for about 4 years last time. Okay, and then at the bottom there, you can see my contacts, my mobile number, and also my email addresses. Okay, so email addresses ni may be important later on, but most of our communication will be based on UFuture. So all the notes, all the relevant documents or relevant information regarding the course, I will use UFuture. And some of the assessments, assignments also, I will share in UFuture as well. Okay, so communication formally we done by UFuture, but if you decided to create a WhatsApp group, you can add me in for any faster communication. Okay. Right, about the cost. So the financial management FIN 420, we have 3 credit hours. MKF credit tu is Malaysian Qualification Framework MKF credit, 3 credit hours. And when we have 3 credit hours, sepatutnya we should have 3 contact hours kalau full time per week lah. Okay, but since you guys are part time and you notice that we change the structure starting this semester in terms of our meetings. Previously, we for courses related or have some elements of calculations, we're going to have 7 meetings, and those yang tak ada calculations, usually 5 meetings kan, and every meetings we have 2 hours of contact. Okay, but starting this semester, I guess there's a comment from the MQA perhaps. ISAPS decided to comply with the MQA requirement, whereby now all courses, regardless calculation ke non-calculation ke, all will have 7 meetings. Okay, all will have 7 meetings, and every week, basically, all right, every seminar week, we split into 2 meetings. Okay, on Saturday, like today, we're gonna have 1 hour meeting, and on Sundays, there's gonna be 2 hours meeting. Okay, so for that particular week, they're gonna be a 3 hour lah, 1+2. Okay, but again, it's not every week, because technically in a semester kita ada 14 minggu, 14 weeks. Okay, 14 weeks of meeting. If you are studying full time, the time yang you kena complete adalah 14 weeks. But for part time, they allow 7 meetings sajalah, 7 weeks. So therefore, every courses now kena comply dengan 7 meetings tu with the 3 hours meeting. So the rest, again, still you need to self-learn, refer to videos, refer to books, and all other materials based on your own study lah. Okay, self-paced learning. Right. In terms of classes, as I mentioned tadi, our meetings will be 3 hours per week, whereby the 1 hour on Saturday tu akan langsung secara online. Okay, something like this. Okay, this is the updated or the latest, I can say, schedule that I can found dekat dalam ISAP's new website tu. So for example, today, 5th of April, Saturday, it's online meeting lah, class online. So the schedule for your class, you guys is NBF2N kan. So NBF2N is here between 2 to 3. Okay, so disregard this classroom lah. So classroom tak ada untuk online. Classroom is not required lah. Okay, so 2 to 3. Right, and for Sundays, okay, if you refer to the next page, Sundays, that will be tomorrow. Ada satu lagi, the first session on Sunday is tomorrow, and sepatutnya physical. Okay, sepatutnya physical from week 1, seminar 1 until seminar 7. And our class 2 to 4. Okay, instead of 2 to 3 macam hari ni, is 2 to 4. And our class will be at FSK 6, block FSK 6, level 4, classroom 11. Okay, bilik kuliah 11. Okay, classroom 11. But for this week, we got the announcement by ISAPS that for 5th and 6th, the class will be fully online. So for tomorrow, it is not physical. So tomorrow, we're still going to have an online session. We're just going to meet physically, face-to-face on the 20th of April. Okay, as of now, 20th of April will be our first physical session. Okay, physical face-to-face class. Okay, hope everyone clear on the schedule. Right, so every Saturday ni memang all online, tak ada class. So disregard the classroom kat bawah ni. Okay, so prerequisite tu tak perlulah. In fact, I think FIN420 ni yang akan jadi prerequisite for some other courses in the future. Okay, because this is just the introduction, so there's no prerequisites. Okay, with regards to the course, the course is designed to enable students to understand the concept of finance. So as I mentioned, this is the very fundamental, very basic concept finance paper. And therefore, this will be the introduction concept that you need to grasp, okay, before we can move on to intermediate or to the advanced level of finance. So it covers quite broad, okay, quite broad areas in finance. Okay, later on you're gonna see we have 11 topics altogether. Okay, and usually the very first topic is just about the introduction, the definition, and the basic concept. And then moving on to the higher topics, you're gonna see, for example, you will cover the topics of financial ratios, to understand the financial statements, okay, how to prepare cash budgets. You learn about the concept of time value of money, working capital management, sources of financing, and then lastly, the capital budgeting. And so these topics that is mentioned in the course description is basically laid out throughout the 11 topics throughout the semesters. Okay, and at the end of the course, meaning towards the end, of each sections. Okay, we're gonna test and measure whether you able to get the understanding and the knowledge. For example, for the first CLO, cost learning outcome number 1, is to explain current and future financial plans for corporations. So this usually will be done or will be tested using the 2 tests. We're going to have 2 tests, okay, and how to measure whether you achieve this cost learning outcome, CLO, is by having tests. Okay, so test 1 and also the second test. Okay, and then second CLO is to report corporation's financial positions and performance. And this can be done via project group, the group project. Okay, so you're going to have one group project, and the output of the project, we're going to have the written report and also a presentation. Okay, presentation as well. So that will measure CLO number 2. And finally, CLO number 3 is to apply the knowledge of financial planning in order to manage shareholders' wealth. So this one, usually we will do it based on individual assignments or individual quizzes. Okay, and I will explain later on for each, CLOs, what kind of, I already mentioned about the assessment, but which topics covers for the assessment, I will mention later on when we see the content. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have 11 topics. Last time when we just had 7 meetings, 2 hours each, and just to put you in perspective, the final final seminar, seminar 7, we don't have class. Okay, seminar 7 we will allocate for the second test. So technically last time we just had 6 meetings, so with a 2-hour context, so a total of 12 hours meeting, and we have to cover every single items here. Okay, bear in mind, number for finance, so it involves a lot of calculations. Okay, some very basic, some quite not that advanced, but we can say it's like an intermediate level. Okay, nothing advanced in this course, very basic. We just need a normal calculator. We are not using financial calculator yet. Okay, but if you have financial calculators, it's very much helpful because it's much easier to calculate some of the items or some of the methods that we're going to use. If we have financial calculators, they can expedite our calculations. Okay, or else we can rely on the normal calculator, the scientific calculator, ataupun just a normal calculator in order for us to calculate. Okay, we can do both lah. Okay, cuma kalau guna normal calculator, scientific calculator tu, we have to rely heavily on the formulas in order for us to calculate. Okay, whereas if we have financial calculators, some of the steps can be reduced and we can get the results or the answers much faster. Okay, but anyway, 11 topics. Now, since we're going to have extra 1 hour each, so technically we're going to have 6-7 hours of extra time untuk kita go through some of the content. So for example, for today, besides this introduction slide, we're going to go through a bit on topic number 1, and I believe we will not have the time to cover every single slides on topic number 1 though. Okay, and then we're going to proceed with topic number 2. Perhaps we're going to start this topic number 2 tomorrow. Okay, understanding financial statements. And for this topic, I believe you've taken accounting paper before, and you know or you're aware about the financial statements, such as the balance sheet, the income statements, the cash flows, for example. I know in accounting punya course, you've learned how to prepare the financial statements. Okay, but for this finance course, it's not about preparing the statements. We are actually using the statements in order for us to analyze and make try to understand what's the results and try to analyze the performance of the company, okay, that based on the financial statements that we have. So topic number 2 is just a revisit the elements, the items in the financial statements. The actual analysis begin in topic 3. Okay, so for topic 3, the financial ratios and analysis, this actually will be used heavily for your group project. So your group project, okay, for your group project, we're going to use topic number 3 as a core for your group project. So your group project will be based on the financial ratios and how you interpret the data, okay, in terms of the analysis. So this is where I said to achieve CLO number 2, we need to do financial ratios analysis, and it is part of the assessment. And the assessment will contribute about 30% of the cost punya assessment in total. Okay, and then we move on to topic number 4, financial forecasting and planning. It's quite related dengan topic 3. Cuma topic 3, we use financial statements and we analyze the past performance, okay, performance yang dah lepas. And for topic number 4, this is about forecasting and planning. So from the word itself, it shows something that yet to happen. So this is something for the future. So we use financial statements, we use some assumptions, and then we try to forecast. Okay, we prepare cash budget, we prepare pro forma financial statements in terms of how to plan our cash, how to plan the profits. Okay, so this topic number 4 is basically something for the future. Okay, usually for the following year lah, following financial year of the company. Okay, not based on current, not based on the previous or based on the past. This is something for the future. Okay, so based on this, we move on to topic 5 later on, talking about working capital management. So when we talk about working capital, okay, you see the word working capital, always remember current assets. Okay, so current assets, again, if you learn accounting before, current assets ni ada dalam asset lah. Okay, dalam balance sheet, we have assets, liability and equity kan. So one of the items under assets is current assets. Okay, and there's a plenty of items under current assets, but the ones that we're going to focus on, we have cash, we have marketable securities. Okay, those are the first 2 current assets. And then we're going to explore account receivable and also inventory. So we have 4 different current assets, or in other words, the working capital. Okay, so for these 5, 6, and 7, technically they are related. Okay, so working capital management, topic number 5 will be the introduction, give you the overview what is working capital management is all about. And then topic 6, we're going to go into details specifically for cash and marketable security. And then topic 7 is about account receivable and inventory management. Right, so for these 5, 6, and 7, we can say that it's 50-50 between theory and calculations, because the calculations is only involve cash management and also inventory management only. So the rest, even the working capital management topic 5, marketable securities and account receivables, is all about theory. Okay, how to manage the working capital. Okay, after that, okay, I think towards this topic 8, 9, we are towards the second half of our meetings already. We have 2 related topics, another 2 topics, short-term and long-term financing. Okay, and this topic importance when we talk about borrowings. Okay, how to manage the situation of the company when they face deficit. If they have problems or shortage of cash, shortage of funds, how to recover from this situation, so they have to borrow. Okay, but we have a lot of options. Either we want to borrow short-term basis, long-term basis, and if you decided to borrow short-term basis, what are the options? Which are the best options? Okay, all of those will be discussed in topic 8 and 9 respectively. And the final two topics is about mathematics of finance. So mathematics of finance is the concept of time value of money. Okay, the concept of present value, future values, right? And again, this is where we're going to start using financial calculators if we have, or else we're going to use the time value of money table. Okay, I'm going to share with you both how to calculate either calculators or using the time value of money table. And finally, we're going to wrap up the content with capital budgeting. So capital budgeting is a form of investment. Investment by the company. Either usually the decision making is based on investment on new assets or involved with new projects. Okay, and these two, the assumption would be if they purchase new asset, the asset will generate income. Similarly, if they want to involve with new project, the new project will generate cash flows, okay, cash inflows to the company. And in order to determine whether the new assets or the new project is beneficial or not to the company, we need to calculate the costs and then identify based on the new projects or the new assets, how much money will be generated. And then we're going to compare the costs versus the inflows, the income solely based on these new assets or new projects. And then we're going to decide whether the investment is good or not. Okay, kalau dia profitable, yes, kita boleh proceed with the new investment, or else we're going to reject the proposal of new assets or the new project. So that we will discuss in the final topic. Okay, so this is just the brief overview of the content. Okay, just the main topics. But if you want to see in details of the content, I've shared with you the syllabus. Okay, so this is the syllabus I've shared with you in YouFuture. So dalam I discuss punya section, thread yang kat bawah tu, you can find under the course information or the syllabus. I attach this document for you to view. So just similar like the ones I presented dalam my punya PowerPoint tadi, ada description, ada CLOs. Cuma the details of the syllabus slightly detailed, ataupun the content of the syllabus slightly detailed. Okay, for example, for topic number 1, we have 5 subtopics. Okay, and then the understanding financial statements, dipecahkan according to the statement, the balance sheet, income statement, and also the cash flow. Right, and then the ratios, financial planning, and so on. So all of the topics, the main topics, now you can see the details and the how detailed ataupun how depth we're gonna explore in terms of the content. Okay, and as I mentioned, majority involve calculation, starting from cash flow ni sebenarnya ada some calculations involved, and then the ratios ni obviously calculation, and the rest of the calculation kecuali topic 5. Okay, capital management is just definition and approaches without any calculation. The actual calculation happen in the topic number 6 and 7 respectively. Okay, moving on to the assessment. Okay, just to highlight the content ni untuk course ni, there's no final exam. It's based on 100% coursework or ongoing assessments. So here, as you can see, we're going to have 2 tests. Test 1, 20%. And then for the final test or the test 2 is 30%. So total combined of tests is 50% combined. So a huge chunk of marks coming from tests. Okay, and then we have group project, group assignment. Okay, the written report will give you 20%. Okay, so technically for group assignment, you just need to do one project, one big project. But the outcome or the output of the project comes into two forms. Form number one is a written report that will give you 20%. And then based on the same thing that you do for your group assignment, you're going to create a video presentation. Okay, we don't have time to do presentation in class. So the presentation will be documented in video format, and you need to share the link of your video presentation with me. And the video presentation will give you another 10% or 10 marks. So total combined for group project is 30%. Okay, so 50 plus 30 dah already 80% kan. So the remaining 20% comes from the individual assignments. Okay, so 20%. So this 20% will not based on one item. Selalunya at least I'm going to have two different assignment. Okay, assignment ni boleh lah assignment / quiz. Okay, but it will be done based on individual efforts, not based on group, based on individual. So the quiz will be done individually. The take-home assignment maybe will be done individually as well. Okay, so total combined, it will be 20%. Okay, so that's the assessment again. Okay, so recap, there's no final exam. 100% based on ongoing assessments. Now I want to highlight perhaps in very upfront kat sini, what are the topics that will be covered according to the types of assessment. Okay, so bear with me, I'm going to go back and forth between the content kat sini and how we're going to assess your understanding on the respective topics lah. Okay, but subject to change, just to be clear, but most of the time I'm going to use this kind of allocation. So for example, I'm going to follow the topics code, then I will map it against the assessment. So for topic introduction, understanding financial statements, financial ratios forecasting and financial ratios analysis and financial forecasting and planning, that can be tested in test 1. So I'm going to put here topic 1 to 4. We're going to test it on test 1. Okay, topic 1 to 4. However, as I mentioned before, 30% of your ongoing assessment is based on group project, and that group project is based on topic 3 alone. Okay, topic 3 alone. So therefore, for this group project, the 30% will come from topic number 3. Okay, topic 3 sahaja. So therefore, since topic 3 is already discussed in group project section, so for test 1, we're going to exclude topic 3. So you're left with 1, 2, and 4. Okay, but just again to highlight, untuk test 1, okay, since this is theory, this is mostly theory juga. So this one not covered in test 1. So the bulk of calculation will come from this topic. Okay, so for topic 4, this is the core for your test 1. The core questions come from topic 4. Okay, with some theory sections come from topic 1 or topic 2. Okay, so bear that in mind for test 1. So it will give you 20% comes from topic 1 to 4, except for topic 3. So technically it's 1, 2, and 4. Okay, 1, 2, and 4. So topic 3 will be covered in group projects. So 1 to 4 is done. So we left with the rest lah, ada 7 more topics. So for assignments and quizzes, okay, assignments and quizzes, usually I'm going to cover from topic topic 5. Okay, starting from here. Sampai topic 7. Okay, assignments and quizzes ni. 5, 6, 7. So usually I'm going to split it into 2. Okay, so each will give you 10%. So combined, it's going to be 20%. And the topics will cover from 5 to 7. Working capital management, cash and marketable, accounts receivable, and inventory. Okay, and we left with one more, the final test. And unlike final exam boleh je dia tanya anything from topic 1 sampai topic 11. But for this is we're going to use final test kan, ataupun final assessment. So usually we covers the final test based on whichever yang belum di cover from the previous assessment. Okay, but based on last semester, I just highlight to you lah. Based on last semester, they use topic 7 until topic 11. Okay, and this gives you 30%. 30%. And from this topic 7 to 11, it will give you, ataupun it will requires you to answer a 70 marks worth of question. 70 marks. So maknanya 70 markah punya soalan you have to attempt to answer. And it will cover from topic 7 to topic 11. Okay, so that is based on last semester. And last semester, we had our first final assessment, final test yang everybody have the same question. Everybody here means every groups that we have in EBJJ will have the same question. Okay, we have a lot of lecturers yang ajar. So the coordinator compile all the questions and then use the same question, same set of questions to all of the student. Okay, so yeah, that's that's our 30%, the final 30%. So combine all together 100%. So remember, in order to pass, you need to get at least 50%. So this is your target lah, at least 50%. So is it easy to pass? I can say it's easy to pass. Okay, but with conditions, you complete all the assessments. Okay, semua assessment ni kena buat lah, tak ada yang tinggal. Because as you can see, the assessment give you quite huge. Sebab dia punya is either 20 or 30. So you tak buat satu je, for example, you tak buat, I don't know, you miss test 1. You tak buat test 1 sahaja, you miss 20%. So you left with only 80% opportunity to get 50%. Okay, which is quite high lah. So meaning you can score quite high for all. Okay, so the weight is shifted to other assessments, and then you need to get higher marks for the rest. Okay, so for you, in order to pass, make sure all of the assessments completed, submitted accordingly. So always check your future, especially for assignment and quizzes lah. Sebab assignment and quizzes ni memang I akan post dalam your future. I will remind dalam I discuss according to the weeks. Okay, and then the assessment tu I akan upload dalam your future juga. So please check your future regularly. Okay, make it a habit untuk check. Sebab you bukan ada course I ni je. You have either 3 courses, 3, 4 courses, whatever. Make sure check. Kalau tak daily, try at least once a week before Sunday tu check. Perhaps on Fridays, always check your future. Sometimes the quiz ataupun assignment tu akan due dalam masa 2 minggu je. I post after the class this week, and then the deadline will be before the next class. So takkan the next class tu pun you tak check langsung kan your future. So you have to make a habit untuk check. Right? Yeah, so once you've completed everything, sepatutnya with a decent effort, okay, you get a decent marks, then you should pass quite easily lah to get 50% to pass the 50% threshold. Okay, I can say about 98%, 99% those who submitted everything according to the requirement should pass the paper. Tapi akan ada lah maybe 1 or 2% yang submit everything but still might not pass the course. Okay, kenapa tak pass walaupun dah submit semua? The quality of the submission lah. Okay, they submit test 1 sebab last time test 1 hanyalah take home test. Okay, so ada 2 or 3 questions. So instead of answering all the answers soalan satu je contohnya lah. Okay, so dia tak complete everything. So satu lagi maybe the result of it lah, maknanya dia tak cukup study, tak rewatch the videos for example. Then the assignments, the quizzes or even the tests, the marks is not up to the standard, and that cause the marks is not high enough to achieve at least 50%. Okay, jarang lah sangat. Out of, like I said tadi, out of total, maybe 1 or 2% yang akan fall in this category. Okay, tapi kebanyakannya yang fail, okay, I can say upfront, memang akan ada failure. Tapi kebanyakan yang fail selalunya dia tak complete. Dia tak submit any one of these. Okay, even though I will give chance, I will contact, okay, please resubmit your assessment so that I can give you marks. Okay, there's no such thing as give free marks lah. You have to do some works in order to get marks kan. So sometimes I send reminders, okay, you haven't done your assignment quizzes. Okay, when you want to do it, tapi lepas tu tak reply. Yeah, so a lot of things have happened. So those are the cases yang menyebabkan failures selalunya. Okay, so the key point here, if anything happen throughout the semester, try to communicate. Okay, don't keep it to yourself, assuming other people knows about anything. So try to communicate, let me know what's the problems, and we try to find solutions, how to ensure that you have completed every assessment. Okay, tapi kalau dah bagi second, third chances pun still tak ada submission, then I cannot do much lah. Okay, at least I've done my part in providing opportunities for you to submit. Okay, so finally is about the references. Okay, references, the recommended textbook and also other references. So to be honest, we will not use this in class per se, but if you requires books, either physical books or e-book, you can use any of these books for you to revise. Okay, but for our class, I will provide the slides for all the content, but obviously the slides sometimes is a simplified format ataupun the simplified steps in terms of how to do the calculation. So the calculation part mostly will be explained in class, okay, step by step. And on top of that, some of the classes will be recorded. Macam this week memang recorded lah, but during our face-to-face, there will be no recorded sessions. However, I have the opportunity to conduct full 7 seminars online during COVID. Okay, masa itu memang 100% online. So blessing in disguise, we have a complete videos for 7 seminars. So that semester's punya seminar is usually I will share. Okay, usually I will share the link for you to view the recording sessions. For those yang miss classes, you can watch the videos. And for those yang dah datang class but need some material to revise, you can use that video as well. So I will share with you the link of the videos later lah, not now. Okay, so now you have to go to class in order for you to get first-hand experience. But for your revision, perhaps later on, I'm going to share with you the content ataupun the videos. Okay, so that will help you to do some revision, because as you all know, when you do part-time study, kita punya study ataupun lessons memang not 100% in class lah, because of the time constraints that we have. So there's a lot of things that you need to do it yourself, DIY, and also self-learning. Okay, the concept of self-learning needs to be applied here. Okay. Ada soalan?
Tak ada, sir.
Alright, so we take a short break. Okay, walaupun dah almost 45 minutes, tapi kita short break kejap lah, 2 minutes. And then we're gonna restart and go straight to topic number 1. Okay, so let's take 2 minutes before we proceed with topic number 1. Okay, let's proceed lah. I'm still adjusting juga with the 1 hour slot ni. Okay, you don't have this slot before, kan? So yeah, I'm still adjusting to it, and I need to reallocate balik how we gonna do allocation for the topics discussed. So thank you for the question tadi. Test 1 usually after topic 4 lah. Okay, because as I mentioned in the distribution tadi, so we're going to cover up until topic 4 for test 1. So therefore we have to wait until topic 4 lah. So hopefully by seminar 3 we should complete everything, and by the end of topic 3 usually I will give out the instruction for group projects. Sebab group project you based on topic 3, so you can start already after we completed topic 3, so that you can start with your group project. Okay, and for test 1 we're going to do it after the topic number 4. And as I mentioned earlier tadi, historically test 1 tu kita buat take home test usually. right? But that one based on 7 meetings 2 hours kan. But now with the new structure, I'm not sure. I need to double check dengan coordinator sama ada dia allow us to do our own test or they want to use similar approach like test 2 whereby semua orang, semua group have the same question. Then we have to wait ataupun to do the same time punya concept for test 1 as well. So for that, I have to double check dengan your coordinator course. Khusus coordinator khusus. Right. But for the final test 2, memang historically we do it in class. So seminar 7 yang Sunday tu Sunday seminar 7 tu memang you have to allocate your time. Try to block your calendar just like your final exam try to block your calendar and come to class sebab you ada masa berapa bulan lagi kan sebelum seminar 7 tu to block your calendar on Sunday so that we can have the final test in class juga lah. Okay, so with less than 15 minutes left ni, walaupun topic 1 ni we have 4 subtopics. Okay, based on the morning sessions, I have 2 classes in the morning with the same course, cuma different program. Okay, you guys Bachelor of Finance kan, yang pagi tadi Business Technology program dia. So, different background, different, I can say different knowledge juga. I just managed to complete 1.1 saja. So for you guys, I believe the same. Okay, because of the time that I take to explain so that you have fundamentally understand what the expected output that you have to give, right, in order to excel for this course. So basic information when we talk about finance is the definition of finance. Okay, so Gitman 2009 defined finance as the art and science of managing money. Okay, so the keyword here is how to manage money. Okay, so I just want to cut short. Okay, when we talk about managing money, we are not only take care of the money, how to manage the money when we have the money. Okay, we are actually try to manage the money, the funds, when we don't have the money itself. Okay, so how does it work? Okay, in economy, okay, I always use this illustration. In economy, we're gonna have 2 positions. Okay, either the unit has a surplus or the unit is in the deficit position. Okay, always in these 2 kind of position, either as individuals, as a company, as a firm, or as a government. So dalam ekonomi, the units in the economic cycle akan ada 3 kategori lah. The households, which is us individuals, families, and then we have the company, the firms, and then the third party would be the government. Okay, so ketiga-tiga economy unit ni will interact with one another, and there's sometimes that these units can become a surplus, and there's a point of time akan ada yang berada di deficit. So what's the difference between the 2? So surplus, okay, the word surplus tu indicates you have excess. You ada lebihan, excess. So you're gonna have extra ataupun plus amount of money, amount of funds. Okay. So when you have these surplus positions, this is where you have to manage your funds, you manage your money, how to allocate your financial resources effectively. So you ada lebihan, you have excess. So what you do with the lebihan or excess, most of the time, you're going to invest. Okay, when you have surplus, you should invest because you don't keep your surplus in cash because cash will not give you any returns. So therefore, you need to invest. So where to invest? So this is where the art and science of managing funds take into picture lah. So you can allocate your financial resources. Kat mana nak letak? Where to invest? So we have a lot of investment opportunities with different risks and different returns. So that's your decision that you have to do in terms of where to make investments. And at the same time, there's a possibility that you'll be in deficit position. So deficit means you are in the minus. Your income is your income is less than your expenditures. So therefore, you're going to have deficit. Duit yang masuk tak sebanyak duit yang keluar. So you have more money outflows, but little money coming in. So in order to counter these deficit positions, you need to do something. So this is where you need to understand how to obtain your resources. Okay, so in terms of obtain, how to get it, multiple ways. Sama macam investment, when you are in deficit, you have plenty of options. So the options selalunya datang dalam bentuk borrowing. So you have to borrow. Kalau you have surplus, you have to allocate your money in order to invest. But when you are in deficit positions, you have to borrow some funds. Okay, again, sama macam investment, borrow pun ada banyak option. Okay, you want to borrow short-term basis, long-term basis, what kind of options that we have? Okay, so this is the process that you're going to go through throughout the semester in managing the money. Okay, that's why I said managing money bukan semasa ada duit saja, not during surplus time, but it's actually together when you're not in the positions of having money in your hand. Okay, maknanya you are in deficit. So you still kena manage the funds accordingly, mana nak pinjam duit tu, you have to borrow. Okay, so there's a lot of financial decisions will be made throughout the topics nanti, in terms of if you want to produce ataupun try to manufacture new products, invest in new assets ataupun new projects as I mentioned, and if you want to borrow, you nak guna stocks ataupun debts. So those are the decision making that we're going to do throughout the semester. Okay. So finance is concerned with the process. So the process I already mentioned. Okay. But besides the process, you need to understand and aware of who are the participants. Okay, kalau you tengok kat sini tadi, you hanya nampak dua pihak aja. We have the surplus units and we have the deficit units. Okay, but how the surplus and deficit communicate with each other? Okay, orang yang ada duit lebih ni, you nak invest kat mana? Kena cari unit yang deficit ke? Okay, historically, perhaps that's the case. Mungkin during, I don't know, 200-300 years ago, perhaps that's a way macam mana nak dapatkan lebihan. But now, okay, in order to communicate between the two parties here, kita ada orang tengah. Okay, we have the middleman between the surplus and deficit units. Okay, so who are these middlemen or intermediary? Okay, so we can classify them as two parties. First is financial institutions. FIs, financial institutions. So financial institutions like banks, insurance companies, takaful operators, cooperative banks. Okay, so all of those FIs like financial institutions is one of the intermediary or the middleman. Satu lagi adalah financial market. So FM adalah financial market. So these two are the institutions and markets act as an intermediary, bertindak sebagai orang tengah, that allows the surplus and deficit units to communicate with each other. Okay, so what kind of communication? Dia bukanlah communication untuk bercakap. Meaning here, if this surplus unit ada excess of funds, let's say 100,000, so macam mana dia nak gunakan 100,000 tu to generate income? So they go to these FIs or FM and do some investment. Okay, so for example, surplus unit company A, they go to FI, to the bank, and dia letak duit dia dalam fixed deposit, contohnya fixed deposit. And the fixed deposit akan bayar dia, let's say 4% returns. But how the bank pays 4% return? It based on activity. So what kind of activity? Dia akan bagi dalam bentuk borrowings. They will give borrowings to the deficit units. So deficit unit ni, katakanlah individual. Okay, individual, Mr. A. And this Mr. A wants to buy a car. Dia nak beli kereta, but they don't have, he or she, Mr. A, he lah kan. So he doesn't have enough cash untuk beli kereta by cash lah. So they go to the bank, dia ada hanya 10% untuk bayar deposit. So the remainder of 90%, they borrow from the bank. Okay, so the money comes from where? Actually comes from the surplus unit tadi. Yang channel put the money, deposit the money in the bank in the form of FD. So FI gunakan duit daripada FD ni and bagi pinjam kepada borrower tadilah, Mr. A. So Mr. A akan bayar balik together with the profit margin to FIs, and the profit margin then will be shared between FIs dengan the surplus unit. So tadi kita janji bayar 4% kan. So 4% bayar ke surplus unit, so the remaining will be kept by the bank. So that's how the process and the relationship between financial market and also the financial institutions together with the instruments. So instrument yang you nampak kat sini tadi, apa yang berlaku, there are two instruments. Number one is FD, the fixed deposit as a form of deposit. And untuk borrowing, kita ada, sebab dia nak beli kereta, so the other instrument, they use car loan contohnya. Okay, and they use this to transfer the money, the funds from one party to another among the individuals, the businesses, and the government. Remember the three parties I mentioned about economic units tadi kan? Kita ada households, the firms, and also the governments. Okay, so this is finance punya process and also the parties involved internally and externally. Okay, and for those yang tak kerja dalam bidang finance, if you learn about this, this is very beneficial for you lah untuk being able to interact and communicate effectively with your peers in the finance department, and for you to understand the process and also the procedures. Okay, so the FIs and the FMs tadi, so financial institutions are intermediary that channels the funds tadi ada mention how the channel from one end, the surplus unit, dalam case ni contohnya savings of individuals ni, this is the surplus, and then turn the deposits into loans. Okay, they transfer the funds, channel the funds from the surplus unit and change into loans or investment. So this is basically the deficit lah. Channel to the deficit units, terms into loans. Okay, ni example is the banks, the commercial bank. Okay, any bank lah sebenarnya, commercial ke investment bank can be under financial institution. Okay, and the other example ataupun the other avenues for the surplus and deficit units to meet with each other, besides the financial institutions, sometimes financial institutions doesn't have enough capacity in order to fulfill the requirement. Okay, kalau rumah-rumah yang kecil mungkin kita boleh gunakan financial institution lah, but when we talk about millions or billions of ringgit, sometimes the financial institutions is not the best option. Okay, so they have to resort to another avenue in the form of financial market. So sama jugalah financial market, if you recall, is the middleman between the surplus and deficit. Cuma dia punya instrument would be different. So the instrument dia apa? They have two markets under the financial market, the money market. So money market is based on short-term markets. So short-term here means less than or equals to 1 year. Whereas for capital market, this is market anything more than 1 year. More than 1 year, or products ataupun securities with no maturity. Okay, so that's the difference between the two lah. So kalau as a surplus unit, deficit lah selalunya untuk money market ni, selalunya deficit. they want to raise fund, katakan nak issue bonds. Okay, dia issue bond ataupun sukuk to the market. Katakanlah 500 million worth of bond. So it will take longer time. Dia tak mungkin less than 1 year. Selalunya when you talk about bond, usually between 5 to 30 years maybe. Okay, so they raise 500 million. The deficit units raise funds, and the investor yang ada surplus ni akan invest by purchasing the bonds. Okay, so kalau they want to raise fund in a shorter terms, macam selalunya government nak raise funds, some of the funds dia mungkin raise nak within 6 months sahaja, they can use money market. Okay, using that ataupun marketable securities. Okay, so yeah, I think time pun dah habis for the day. I'm gonna stop here before we proceed with the rest of topic number 1 and topic number 2 tomorrow. So 1 hour ni taklah lama sangat sebenarnya, to be honest with you. So hopefully there are some parts that we can cover lah in the 1 hour session, but the bulk of it, the content will be discussed in the 2 hour slots. For example, tomorrow lah. So tomorrow we have longer time. So perhaps we can cover up until we finish topic 2 tomorrow as well. And if possible, kalau boleh nak touch a bit on topic 3 as well. So we'll see. Right, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, so if there's no other question, thank you very much. And inshallah, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 as well. Tomorrow there'll be 2 hour session now. Right, thank you. And Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, sir.
Waalaikumsalam, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.